Back in 2017, I was in a rough place financially. I'd just moved to Ohio after a messy breakup, didn't know anyone, and was desperate for a job. Any job. That's when I stumbled across a Craigslist ad that read, "Urgent night shift, maintenance worker for medical facility. High pay, no experience required, must be comfortable around deceased bodies." It felt off immediately. But the pay? $28, cash! I clicked apply without thinking twice. A guy named Mr. Halverson called me back the same day. His voice was slow and cold, like someone used to giving orders. He told me to show up at St. Lucia County Coroner's Office, midnight sharp. No interview. Just come with steel-toed boots and don't ask questions. Weird, right? But again, I was broke. That first night, the place looked like a forgotten building from the 1950s. Yellowed lights buzzed overhead. It was mostly underground beneath the main hospital wing. Mr. Halverson met me at the side entrance. Tall, thin, bald. He handed me keys, gloves, a mop, and this industrial spray bottle with no label. "Only use this on drawer room B," he said, not explaining more. My job sounded simple. Mop floors, wipe down gurneys, make sure the drawers, the ones where bodies are stored, were clean and sealed. Stay until 6 a.m. But something felt wrong about the air, like the building was holding its breath. At around 2 a.m. I walked past drawer room B and my keycard out of nowhere unlocked the door on its own. I swear I didn't swipe. The heavy metal door creaked open by itself. Inside it was ice cold and pitch dark except for this dim red light above the far wall. 12 body drawers lined the room, all sealed except one. Drawer number 9 was slightly ajar, fog curling out of it like breath in the winter. And then I heard it. A whisper, just one word, "Stay." I froze, looked around. I was alone, or at least I should have been. That's when I noticed something even worse. The mop water I'd been using? It wasn't clear anymore. It had turned thick black like oil mixed with blood. I stood there, paralyzed, gripping the mop like it could protect me from whatever was happening. My eyes were locked on that black, thick water swirling in the bucket. It looked almost alive. I don't know how to explain it, but it was moving in slow spirals like it had a current of its own. Then the whisper came again, clearer this time, closer. "Stay." The air dropped 10 degrees instantly. I backed away from drawer room B, heart pounding, and slammed the door shut. The second it closed, the whisper stopped. Silence. Just the buzz of the old fluorescent lights above me. I tried to rationalize. Lack of sleep, chemical fumes, stress. But when I looked down at my bucket again, the water was clear. I didn't even remember dumping it. I hadn't touched it. Everything looked normal, like the last 5 minutes never happened. I almost walked out that night, but $28 hour, I needed every cent. So I forced myself to finish the shift, keeping as far away from room B as I could. By 6 a.m., Mr. Halverson returned. I tried to tell him what I saw, but he just smiled, this awful, tight-lipped smile, and said, "Everyone hears something in that room their first night. If you come back tomorrow, it'll get quieter." That if haunted me all day, but I did go back. And on night 2, drawer number 9 wasn't just slightly open anymore, it was wide open, and the body inside it was gone. Drawer number 9 was fully open now. I stepped into the freezing room, heart hammering against my ribs, and stared at the empty tray. The body bag was still there, but unzipped and flat like it had been peeled open from the inside. No signs of struggle. No torn plastic, just empty. I took a step back. The red light above the wall started to flicker. And then, with a snap, it died, plunging the room into darkness. My flashlight was still on the janitor's cart out in the hallway. I turned to leave, but the door to room B slammed shut behind me, locking me in. That's when I heard it again. Not a whisper this time. Breathing. Slow, wet breathing. Like someone with fluid in their lungs was just a few feet away. I spun around. Nothing. But I swear, I felt it. Like something was in the same space as me, just barely outside my field of vision. And then the breathing stopped, replaced by the sound of metal sliding. Drawer number 10 was opening by itself. I darted for the door, slamming my fists against it, yelling for help. No response. I kicked it, threw a stool at the keypad, nothing. The cold started creeping into my bones. My fingers were going numb. Then I heard footsteps. Slow, wet, bare feet on tile, coming from behind me. I turned around and standing right next to drawer 10 was a naked figure, back turned to me, pale, thin. Its skin looked like it had been soaked too long in water, wrinkled, bloated in some places. It just stood there, breathing. Then it twitched its head slightly, like it had heard something. That was when I realized, whatever this was, it wasn't a body anymore. It was something else. The thing by drawer number 10 didn't move like a person. Its joints bent wrong, too slow, too fluid, like gravity didn't apply the same way. When it finally turned toward me, its face was still, expressionless. But its eyes were open, wide and milky white, like they'd never blinked. Skin dripped from its cheek like wet paper, and its lips were split open, stitched crudely back together with something black and thread-like. I couldn't tell if it was decaying or rebuilding itself. It took a step toward me. I backed against the door, panic choking my throat. My fingers scrambled at the lock pad, randomly pressing buttons. The keypad let out a beep. Invalid. I hit it again and again. Behind me, the thing let out a soft, raspy moan, not in pain, but more like it was remembering something. That's when it said, in a voice stitched together from many voices, male, female, young, old, "You opened it." I stopped, because that phrase, I had heard it once before. Not from a person, but in a dream I'd had the night after my first shift. A dream where a drawer opened by itself and something whispered, "You opened it, so now you stay." I didn't tell anyone about that dream. How did it know? I snapped out of it when the thing took another step, reaching a hand out. Its fingers were longer than they should be, bent at unnatural angles, tips black and sharp like broken fingernails. I screamed and slammed my full weight against the door one last time, and it flew open. I fell backward into the hallway, scrambling away on my hands and knees. The door to room B swung shut behind me on its own, slamming with a sound like a gunshot. And everything was normal again. Lights back on, air still, nothing chasing me. When Mr. Halverson arrived for the morning shift, I told him everything. You know what he said? Drawer number 9 opened for you. That means it chose you. You'll be back. I quit that morning, blocked his number, never went near that hospital again, but to this day, I still dream of that room. Drawer number 9. The whisper, the face. And sometimes, when I wake up, my bedroom smells like that same metallic scent from the morgue, like something is waiting. I used to work as a freelance window cleaner in Nevada. Nothing fancy, just skyscrapers, corporate buildings, the occasional resort. But the job that changed everything came from a private contractor that never gave its real name. The guy just called himself Mr. Gray. He offered me $200 an hour cash to clean exterior windows at a bio-research facility outside Tonopah. No branding, no company signs, just a massive concrete building surrounded by desert and fences. It didn't even show up on Google Maps. When I asked what kind of research they did, Mr. Gray smiled and said, "Nothing you need to worry about." Red flag? Definitely. But $200 an hour? I needed the money bad. They made me sign an NDA before I even got out of my car. Then they blindfolded me and drove me into the compound. Yes, seriously. When the blindfold came off, I was standing in a hangar next to a wall of glass 3 stories high, already hooked up with a lift and gear. Only clean the exterior glass, they warned me. Do not try to look inside, ever. That's all they said. Then they left me alone with the building. So I got to work. And for the first few hours, it was uneventful, just sand, sun, and glass. But around 3 p.m., I made it to the north wing, and something felt wrong. The glass was colder, almost like the air on the other side wasn't from here. Out of habit, I glanced inside, and I swear, someone was standing there. Not in a lab coat, not a security guard, it was barefoot, wearing what looked like a hospital gown, just standing in the shadows. But here's the part that made me drop my squeegee. The glass was 2 stories tall, and so was the thing watching me. Its head was tilted, touching the ceiling. Its arms were too long. Its skin looked like pale rubber, pulled tight over something not quite human. But its eyes, those didn't look manufactured. They looked angry. I blinked, and it was gone. Just like that. I should have climbed down, left, but I didn't. Not yet. Because right then, the glass started to vibrate. At first, I thought it was the wind, but this wasn't wind. The vibration had a pattern, like pulses, deep and rhythmic, almost like breathing. The lift I was standing on began to shake slightly, metal creaking under my feet. I reached out to steady myself against the window. Big mistake. The moment my palm touched the glass, I heard a voice. Not with my ears, but inside my skull. A whisper, deep and full of static. Help. I jerked my hand away so fast I nearly tipped the lift. I looked inside again, this time on purpose. And there it was, closer now. Not towering like before, but crouched, watching me from just beyond the glass. Its face was clearer this time. No mouth, no nose, just stretched skin where features should be. And those eyes, not angry anymore, just desperate, hungry. I radioed for someone, anyone. North Wing. There's something in there, something big. No response. I tried again. Static. Then out of nowhere, the glass cracked. Just a thin line right where I'd touched it, spidering outward. The thing stood up slowly behind it, raising one impossibly long finger to trace the crack from the inside, following it like it knew exactly where I was. Then it did something that haunts me to this day. It smiled, but not with a mouth. It had none. The skin on its face rippled, twisted, split itself open into the shape of a smile. Like it had learned it from watching people, like it knew it was supposed to do that. And I swear, even though I was on the outside of triple reinforced glass, I could hear it laughing. Soft, wet, wrong. That's when the alarm went off. The alarm was unlike anything I'd ever heard. Not a siren, more like a deep frequency, so low it rattled my teeth and made my stomach churn. Every floodlight on the perimeter flicked on at once, bathing the desert in sterile white light. Then the intercom crackled to life. All external units, evacuate Zone North 3 immediately. That was me. I was Zone North 3. My lift shuddered as it began lowering on its own, faster than usual. I didn't touch anything. It just started descending, like someone had taken control from inside. My hands were shaking. The crack in the glass above me was spreading. And behind that glass, the thing was pacing now, gracefully, like it was stretching before a long run. As I neared the ground, a black SUV screeched to a stop beside the lift tower. Two men in full hazmat suits jumped out, yelling over the alarm. One of them was holding some kind of containment gun, looked like a cross between a fire extinguisher and a cattle prod. They didn't ask if I was okay. They just shouted, "Did it speak to you? Did you touch the glass?" I said yes, both. The shorter one just cursed and said, "Get him debriefed. Quarantine Protocol 5. I didn't even get to pack up my gear. They shoved me into the back of a second vehicle, locked the doors, and drove me to another building on the far end of the compound, this one underground. No windows, no lights except the fluorescence overhead, which buzzed non-stop. In the room, I was met by a man in a lab coat, no name tag, no smile. He looked me over like a lab rat and asked only one question. "What did it say to you?" I told him. "Help, let me out." He wrote something in a notebook, snapped it shut, and stood. "That wasn't it talking to you," he said. I asked him what the hell that meant, and he leaned in close and whispered, "It doesn't have a voice. That was your own mind repeating what it wanted you to hear. It uses your memory, your thoughts, to convince you." I felt sick. He didn't care. "Someone will call you," he said. "You're done." They dropped me off on a random road near Reno at 3 a.m. No phone, no wallet. My bank account was credited $3,600 and then immediately frozen. 2 weeks later, I had a seizure in my sleep. Doctors said it was stress-induced psychosis. But I know the truth. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I see the crack in the glass. Still spreading. And I swear, in the reflection of windows around me, I see something tall, watching. Back in 2018, I took a night job at a gas station off Highway 191 in Utah, not far from the entrance to a desert stretch locals call No Man's Mile. It was the only building for 30 miles in any direction, just gas pumps, a tiny store, and a single security camera that only worked when it wanted to. The manager, Dale, was a chain-smoking old dude who said two things during my training. 1, lock the doors after midnight. No exceptions. 2, if the payphone rings, don't pick it up. There was no cell service out there, so I figured the payphone was for emergencies, though I couldn't imagine who the hell would even be out there in the middle of the night. My first week was boring. Mostly truckers fueling up, the occasional lost tourist, coyotes howling in the distance. Nothing creepy. At first. Then came Thursday. It was 2:13 a.m. I remember that exact time because I had just finished restocking the fridge and was writing in the shift log. That's when I noticed something odd on the monitor. Pump 3 activated. But no one was there. No car, no lights. Just the pump turning on by itself. The nozzle lifted. The display read "Dollar," but I could hear the pump running. Then the payphone outside the store rang, sharp, loud, echoing across the empty desert. I stared at it, frozen. Part of me wanted to follow Dale's advice, but curiosity got the better of me. I stepped outside, picked up the receiver. There was silence for a second. Then I heard static. Then a whisper. "He's here." I dropped the phone. When I turned around to run back inside, the store lights flickered off. The lights flickered once more, then went completely dark. Total silence. It was as if the desert had swallowed everything whole. No wind, no animals, just a black void. My heart pounded in my chest as I fumbled to pull the door open, but it felt like the air had thickened and the handle wouldn't budge. I yanked harder. Finally, I stumbled inside, slamming the door shut behind me. For a moment, I just stood there, trying to catch my breath, my mind racing. The cold of the desert night was creeping in, and I could see my breath puffing out in the air. I ran to the fuse box and flipped the switch. Nothing happened. That's when I noticed it. A figure standing by the window. Tall, too tall. The silhouette was almost impossibly thin, but still it had shape. A man, maybe? But it wasn't moving. Just standing. Watching. I couldn't make out any details, just the outline of limbs stretched far too long, as if it had been warped by the darkness. It was standing by the pumps now. Pump 3, the one that had turned on by itself. The nozzle had been replaced, now just hanging there. The faint glow of the dim streetlight barely illuminated the figure. I froze. I don't even know why, but I couldn't look away. And then it stepped closer. Slowly, deliberately. The creaking of the desert wind seemed to carry its every movement. I couldn't hear its footsteps, just the sound of my own ragged breathing. The figure's shape started to distort as it approached, like it was stretching in and out of focus, no longer entirely human. Before I could even think, my feet carried me back toward the counter. But when I turned to grab the phone, it was already gone. And the lights flickered back on. The buzz of the fluorescent lights came to life again, the hum breaking the eerie stillness. The gas station, once dark and abandoned, was back to its usual quiet state, except now I wasn't alone. I turned around, scanning the store, but everything seemed normal. The shelves were undisturbed, the door was still locked, but the air was wrong, heavy, pressing in on me. And then the payphone rang again. I didn't move this time. I couldn't. The static came through first, crackling, a low buzz that sent a chill through me. Then the same voice, faint, like it was speaking from the other side of a wall, but clear enough to hear. "He's not gone." My hands started to shake. I wasn't alone. The shadow wasn't gone. It was still out there. The phone's shrill ring cut through my mind like a blade. I stood there, paralyzed, staring at it. The voice from earlier echoed in my head. "He's not gone." My breath came in shallow gasps, but I couldn't make my legs move. I couldn't escape. The gas station felt smaller now. Trapped. I forced myself to approach the phone, slowly, like something in the back of my mind was telling me to be careful, to not make a sound. As I reached for the receiver, the air in the room thickened. It felt like the temperature dropped a few degrees. The light above me flickered, then went out again. The buzzing on the line grew louder, more insistent, like it was coming from inside my skull. Then, just as I was about to lift the receiver, I heard a faint sound outside. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Dragging. I froze. I didn't want to look, but I had to. My eyes were glued to the corner where the door to the back storage room was. The footsteps stopped, and then the back door creaked open. I don't know why I didn't scream. Maybe I was too scared to. Maybe my body was in full survival mode, telling me not to make a sound, but all I could do was watch as the door swung open just enough for someone, to slip inside. It wasn't human. It was wrong. Its limbs were crooked, unnaturally long, and its head tilted at an angle that made me want to throw up. It moved in jerky motions, as if its joints were bending in ways they weren't supposed to. A sliver of light from the flickering overhead bulb illuminated its face, and that's when I saw it. The eyes. Black. Empty. Dead. It smiled. A smile that stretched too wide, the skin of its face cracking and peeling back, revealing rows of sharp, jagged teeth. Teeth too many for its mouth. Teeth that went back into its throat in a twisted, gaping mouth. The thing didn't speak. It just stared. It didn't need to make a sound. The atmosphere was so thick with fear that I could feel its presence inside me. I could feel its eyes crawling over my skin. I started backing up, my legs moving on their own now. But then, the payphone rang again. I had no choice but to answer. I grabbed the receiver, trembling. The moment it touched my ear, I heard a voice I knew. It was Dale's voice, the manager. He was dead silent for a few seconds, then whispered, so quietly I had to strain to hear, "You're not alone anymore. It's already in the store." The phone trembled in my hand as Dale's voice echoed in my ear. "It's already in the store." My heart raced in a frantic, thunderous rhythm. I couldn't think, I couldn't breathe. I looked at the figure still standing there in the back room, its grotesque form hovering just beyond the dim glow of the lights. The smile on its face seemed to widen even more, if that was possible. The whisper came again, this time more urgent. "It's trying to make you feel safe. Don't fall for it. You have to leave. Now." I felt dizzy, the room spinning. My hands were slick with sweat. Everything inside me screamed to run, but I was rooted to the spot. I knew the figure was watching me. Every move, every twitch of my fingers. "You have to listen to me. It's not the first time it's happened. You're not the first person." I couldn't process what he was saying. My mind couldn't piece together what I was hearing, what I was seeing. The creature in the back room shuffled forward, one of its arms jerking in an unnatural motion, its head cocking to one side. That smile, it was widening further, stretching past what should have been possible. The teeth gleamed in the faint light, too many to count, too many for a human mouth. I didn't speak. I couldn't. "Get out. Don't let it touch you." Dale's voice was desperate now, frantic. I could hear something crashing in the background of the call. Something struggling. The creature, if it could even be called that, took another step toward me. My breath hitched and suddenly I was running. My legs moved faster than I thought they could, my feet slamming against the tile floor as I bolted toward the back door. But it was already standing there. How? How did it get there so fast? Its arms stretched out, as if trying to reach for me, its fingers twitching and curling unnaturally. I could feel its gaze on me, weighing me like it was savoring my fear. My hand found the door handle, but before I could open it, I felt a cold, icy pressure grip my shoulder. Its fingers brushed against me. The moment it touched me, the world went dark. I don't know how long I was out. Minutes? Hours. But when I woke up, I was outside, in the desert. The air was cold, and the stars above were as vast and silent as ever. My whole body felt heavy, like I'd been dragged. I was lying on the ground near the gas pumps, the harsh fluorescent lights above flickering like they were struggling to stay on. But the gas station was empty, silent, and the figure was gone. I scrambled to my feet, my mind still foggy, disoriented. My phone was dead. The payphone was silent. Everything was still. I walked back inside and nothing seemed to have changed. The shelves were untouched. The counter was where it had always been. But I knew something was wrong. I could feel it in the air. The place had been too quiet, too calm. I glanced at the security monitor, and that's when I saw it. The figure was standing at the far end of the store. But this time it wasn't as close. It was on the monitor, staring into the camera, just standing there, waiting. I ran to the door, shoved it open, and didn't look back. The desert swallowed me whole again. I quit that night, never went back. And I still don't know what happened that night. I don't know what it wanted, but I know this for sure. Whatever it was, it's still out there. Every time I pass that highway, I can't shake the feeling of being watched. And every now and then, when I'm alone at night, I'll hear something, just on the edge of my hearing, a faint whisper, a voice that always says the same thing. He's here.